Hi guys, Linnea here, fixing the camera as usual. A few things. First of all, a little bit of a haul. I wanted to show you the sign I forgot to show you the other day. Not all witches live in Salem. Love it. It's so cute. I got a couple of little plaques and I'm going to make my own signs and I'll show those to you when I get those done. But this is adorable. Look at this little girl. Isn't she cute? I love her. She's got tassels hanging everywhere. Little outer skirt with tassels hanging from it. She's got a crystal ball in her hand, which is turned wrong. There. Yeah, she's just adorable. I love her to pieces. Little bustle. She's cute. She's sitting on a wine bottle, decorated wine bottle. So that's my little witch. I love her to pieces. She's so cute. And then I got all my charms for the witch's feet as those orders come in. I got tons of charms for the witch's feet. So, not witch's feet, the chicken feet. Sorry. But I came here for a reason today. It is the fall season. And there's a lot in the fall season that we as witches should be doing. The number one is, if you're ever going to work with spirit, now's the time to do it. You know, October is coming, Samhain being the night. But, you know, honestly, the entire season leading into winter is really when the veil is low, and October especially. So you can work with spirit a lot this month. And yes, immensely on October 31st, on Samhain. But in general, you can work a lot with spirit this month. As we get closer to Samhain, the veil gets lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. So, you know, you can start now and on Samhain have a big whatever you choose to have. But in this, and I'm not going to pull anything out because I know some people get grossed out by it, but it's time to work with animal spirit. It's time to work with those all the time. But I'm saying at this point, it's even easier to work with animal spirit. So if you're a collector, as I am, of animals and their, I don't know where anyway. If you're a collector of animal bodies, and not that you kill them, but you collect them when you find them, be it a bat, which I have, a snake, a lizard, these animals are already gone. They're dried up, but you can use their essence, their bodies, as a way of connecting to them and working with them. If you are trying to make a big change, you're going to want a dragonfly or a butterfly or a moth. If you're trying to find tranquility, you're going to want a moth. So it's a good time to start working with these animals. If you're building a new future, you're going to want a wasp or termites or a builder, a bee. You're going to want a builder. You get the gist. So it's a good time to work with insects and animal spirits. If you're trying to break free of something, a deer is a wonderful skull to use to do that. So I wanted to bring up animal spirit, insect spirit, that type of thing, reptile, whatever you want to call it. Those spirits will really help you a lot. And in this month in particular, it's just that we're closer. So remember that. I did a few videos on riding the hedge and working with spirit and spirit guides. Now is a really great time to do that if you have not introduced yourself, if you haven't gone over the hedge to try to set up a relationship or have some type of rapport with them. Now is a great time to do that. Ancestor healing, we talked about that in a previous video, about healing the wounds of the ancestors and the sins of the ancestors. And now is the time to do that. If you know for a fact your family were slave owners, now is the time to go and forgive that and work through that. If you know that your great granddad was a murderer, now is the time to go through that and work through that and forgive. And so a lot of ancestral healing can be done now. It can be done at any time, guys. Don't get me wrong. But now is a really good time. It's a really good time. Working with your spirit guides, big deal right now. You're closer to them. They're closer to you. It's easier to contact. It's easier to connect. A glass of water by the bed at night and right before you go to sleep thinking, I really need contact with my spirit guides. You'd be amazed, but it works. Just a glass of water as an offering. It's a good way to get in touch with your spirit guides. Shadow work. Shadow work is extremely important. I've said this in previous videos, but now and in the winter months and in the death and dying and change and rebirth time of our seasons and our planet are the best times to do shadow work. Because we're home because it's stormy. We're not taking trips. We're not traveling. And we have that solace and that time to let that crap go, to just let it all go and move forward in our lives and start that rebirth and start that new beginning and let go of everything else, let it die. Let it die in the past where it belongs and move forward. So spirit work is a great thing to be doing in these seasons, fall and winter. And then death and change. It's important to realize that everything has to end and have a new beginning. So when we talk about the seasons, we talk about fall coming into the age, into the crone season, winter bringing the death, and spring bringing that change and that renewal and that, that becoming. And so we can work with that as people. We can, as witches, we can work with that. We let the old die. We work into the new and we start that rebirth and that beginning. It's very, very, very effective in these seasons. And then working with deity. I don't talk a lot about this because it's very personal to me. But in these seasons, that are coming up this fall, this winter, is a good time to be working with your deity, to be working through your shadow work, to be working to connect with guides and spirit and ancestors and ancestor healing. Your deity can help you through all of this and be there to hold your hand and guide you. And remember, most of all, to pay attention to your intuition. What that little voice is telling you, pay attention to it. The other day, I had to go by my daughter's on my way to work and pick a few things up for her. Her parking lot is stickered. If you don't have a sticker, you get towed. And I don't have a sticker. But I pulled into her parking lot and I put my emergency lights on and I turned the car off and I was like, okay, I'm going to go grab her stuff and I'll be right back. And something in me said, don't do it. Just don't do it. The emergency flashers are not going to be enough. Go park in the visitor parking and walk your ass all the way back to her apartment. Just go do it. Don't do this. Don't take the chance. So I did. I went and parked in the visitors parking. I walked all the way back to her apartment, which is a very long distance, honestly. And I'll be damned if when I didn't come out of that apartment, the tow truck was coming through. So listen to that little voice, and especially when you're working with deity, because that little voice oftentimes is deity guiding you, giving you that little push you need to go this direction or that direction or these ways or do these things. So listen to that little voice. That little voice is very often your guides or your deity or your ancestors telling you what you need to do. And many of us don't listen to that little voice, and many of us pay. So pay attention to the little voice. It's important. And then now is also the time to start practicing living a spiritual life. I did an answer to a question a while back and talked about just a few days ago about, how can you live a spiritual life without bringing in, how you do your dishes or, that type of thing. And how can you walk the walk when you talk the talk? And so I did a little video on that. And now is the time to start doing that. Now is the time to really start, applying yourself to a habit of being spiritual every day in some way. Anyway, it doesn't have to be my way. It doesn't have to be that you light a candle and some incense every day. But it does have to be something. You've got to bring yourself into the habit of being spiritual daily. And if you do that now, by the time it's time to renew and start over and begin again, January comes around, that's one less thing you've got to put on your resolution list. You've already done it. You've already done it. You've connected. You're staying spiritual on a regular basis. That's not something that you have to start when that beginning time comes. That's something you're in the habit of doing. So you're flourishing in that beginning time. So very important during these seasons to do that as well. Okay, I think I've covered everything I kind of set out to cover. I just wanted to talk about this coming seasons. Fall is here. We've got winter coming, and then we've got spring right after that, the rebirth. And it's important to realize that your magical workings work best when you use the seasons and the moon. If you're trying to kick a bad habit, now's the time to start. Now's the time to start that. Start that now. By the time you get to December, when everything is dying, that habit should be old and ready to move. So, it's just, think of the seasons as a time for you to connect with the earth in its honest rotation. We every year go through these cycles of rebirth and harvest, when we're getting that bounty, and then, fall comes along and we're still getting bounty, but everything's starting to kind of dwindle and get on an age, that crone stage. And then we come into winter where everything dies. And then we're right back into spring and we got the new beginnings again. And if we can work with those energies, and not just on solstices, not just on esbats or sabbats and celebration times, but actually work with those seasons, we will see a huge increase in power and energy that we're able to utilize as witches. Because the pull and the ebb and the flow of the universe is at our hands. It's at our fingertips right then. So use it, utilize it. That's what it's for. That's why we're witches. We're witches because we connect. We connect to the earth. We connect to the ebb and the flow. And we connect to the seasons and the moon and the tides and all of that. We are connected to that. So now is the best time in the world to really begin using your witchiness as a craft and start practicing. I know that a lot of times in my practice in 30 plus years, I've fallen off the wagon. Not so much that I gave up witchcraft, but that I didn't have time for it, or I was raising kids, or, for some reason it got put on the back burner. And those are some low times in my life. I have to admit, some of those times were really, really challenging. And I fully 100% believe it's because I was not putting the time and effort in to be spiritual daily, to be who I am, and to keep that on the forefront. And now that I'm older in age and I'm in the crone stage, I'm in fall, so to speak, it's utmost importance. It's something I have to do on a daily basis, or I don't feel like myself. And so if we can get in the habit of doing that when we're younger, being where we connect, even though we've got the kids to take care of and the husband to feed and the house to clean, light a candle in each room. There's a million things you can do to connect every day. Burn an incense. It's simple. It takes 5 minutes to start, and you can go on about the busy. but you're connecting, and it's important. It's important to live a spiritual life, and to live a spiritual life in the seasons that we're faced with, and the mode that comes with that season. So anyway, I hope this made sense and I didn't ramble too much, because I catch myself rambling a lot lately. So you guys take care of you. Remember, you're divine and sacred beings of light and love. I love each and every one of you. I will talk to you very soon. Take care of you. Stay safe. Bye, guys.